Load is Monday, March 20th, 2023 at 10:24 Eastern Time, USA. It is first day of spring equinox. So I felt I should do a video journal. This is my video journal. I'm Mitch Miller. So I said previously, hey, we're moving away from spying on nations. Definitely trying to move away from the killing, assassinations, poisonings, things like that the intelligence community does, hypothetically perpetrates against foreign leaders and things like that. Now, on my Plot-M website, I posted how many people were killed through terrorist actions throughout the past 5 or 6 years. I haven't updated this, but someone tracks it. It's other than 9/11 year, it's around 300 or 400 people a year are killed through terrorist actions and activities. Does that warrant us to have 18 intelligence agencies in the United States? I don't think so, considering that 30 to 40,000 people die a year in traffic accidents, and we don't even develop technology to make sure people use their turn signals. Right? I argue in my novel Femme Party that we should use the law to make sure people at least use turn signals. Think about how many crashes would be prevented if everybody used their turn signal. So I guess, the Femme Party novel says you've been using law to arrest people for doing drugs for the past 70 years. Imagine if you used the law to get people to drive electric vehicles, to give them a discount for driving electric vehicles, to give them warnings on certain infractions if they're driving an electric vehicle. This is how you could use the law to influence behavior, if you believe that the law should be used to influence behavior, right? You've been trying to get people to quit drugs using the law for years, but all you do is put them in prison, put them on parole and probation, set them up for failure. You're not offering them free rehab, and things like that. You do, but you have to go through a jail process and things like that. There's other ways we could help people change their behavior through social programs, not using the legal system. And I don't believe the Founding Fathers believe the legal system should be used to change behavior. It was meant to make sure people's rights were upheld and that their rights were not infringed upon by others, right? And that's why we have trial by jury in the Constitution 3 times. But we have 18 spy agencies, so I don't think we should eliminate them all. I think we should keep a high level of intelligence gathering agencies, because now we have the threat of nuclear weapons getting into terrorist hands, which could kill millions pretty easily, right? So we should keep up that heightened level in the federal budget. But I argue it should come from a federal budget. They shouldn't be able to raise money by selling drugs or whatever they do to raise money, selling guns. It should all come from a federal budget. So yeah, for the foreseeable future, until we can totally phase out nuclear programs from the world stage, as long as there's nuclear material and the ability to make a nuclear weapon, and now the technology for just a fringe group to do it, we should keep up that heightened level of international security. I'm just saying, if we open up lines of communication with actual governments, instead of saying, what is this facility, maybe they'll volunteer that this is a facility for this, and we believe this group within our borders is trying to do this. Open up the lines of communication instead of just spying and relying on satellites and drones and things to spy on people. And that's what I'm trying to do, open up lines of communication. So, that being said, my plan for this summer, work at Ken's Farm, try to find computer science people to help me build some of these nonprofits, some of these programs. I think they need to happen soon and now, and I think our media system needs to transform very quickly. We're at risk where people can become radicalized. You could have a video of Donald Trump saying, "Hey, so and so," on that person's TV, "Hey, Ken Bryan, go shoot President Biden," right? You have these deep fake videos, you have this AI capabilities, and now things that people said was schizophrenic in the past could really actually be happening, right? If somebody said the TV was talking to me in the 80s, they were labeled schizophrenic. Now you just don't know. So that's why I say don't necessarily have schizoaffective disorder. Just the things I'm concerned about are real threats and things that need to be put out there. The powers that be don't have to act on it because the medical and psychological community labeled me schizoaffective disorder. So it's easy to dismiss what I'm saying, and say that guy's just paranoid, schizophrenic, and we don't have to worry about these concerns. We don't have to act on them. Everything's fine. Our experts say otherwise. Our think tanks say otherwise. So that's where we're at. My plan is to work at the farm this summer, at the campground, working on things. And then as the summer goes on, if I'm not able to find a computer science person, Hillary sent me a link for the Harvard Computer Science program. It's free. You can learn how to program through online courses, I guess. And I'm going to try to pursue that. I thought about trying to use her education credit at the University of Pittsburgh to take actual physical classes. Maybe I could meet some people through that could help me with the projects. But I think I'm just going to do the online thing at first through the winter, and hopefully my disability payments continue, and I'm able to just do the online courses, learn how to program, work on a project that I haven't proposed anywhere on any medium that's just up here that can really change the world. And now with that AI chat CPT or whatever, I guess it can help you program too. So between the AI and taking the classes, maybe I can build one of the platforms I wanted to build, and we'll see how that goes. Let the artificial intelligence, the supercomputers, help me build it, rather than finding an actual physical human that could partner up and help me build this thing. So I'm going to try to do it myself. I've waited long enough. It's time to teach myself how to do this. And hopefully when they see what I've built, other people will want to join the platform. And while we're talking about chat CPT or whatever, there's the CTP4 that tricked a human into solving a CAPTCHA thing to prove that they're not a robot. And I think it's interesting. And I guess the question is, could AI trick the CAPTCHA, trick a human into overriding the robot check, to like warn a senator about, say, all that radioactive water leaking at the Minnesota power plant, or a dirty bomb being placed somewhere within the United States. So we're open to that type of thing. If they can track indiscriminately without having to get warrants and things like that, if the supercomputers are just far-reaching, all-encompassing most technology, or they hone in on certain people's technology, they don't need the warrant, right? So they could be listening to things And the question is, can they override to, say, put a message into a federal senator's email, override the safeguards to do that? So it's an interesting perspective. I want to talk a little bit about minimum income and Social Security. It's in the news. Social Security is going to run out in 10 years, right? So that's a major issue. Minimum income is an idea that I think Yang, or I think he proposed it. Everybody gets a couple grand a month minimum income. I'm on board for minimum income. Obviously, I'm arguing for a stipend for me to do public to exercise freedom of speech. And I think that's how you could gear minimum income, right? You could say, we're going to grant this to people who responsibly put out media independently, and obviously there would be a cutoff. They only make this much money, so we're going to guarantee their income. The other thing, taking care of the elderly, right? You could have kids of elderly taking care of their grandparents. Now, traditionally, you just say you do this out of the kindness of their heart, but we really should compensate these people, give them a minimum income. They could go cook dinner, do the dishes, do the laundry, clean up for a couple hours, 2-3 hours. Then they could go back to their house, check in on their phone with a Social Security Administration or whatever, whoever guarantees this minimum income. Then that generates a telephone call to the elderly person so that they go through a checklist. And this could all be artificial intelligence talking to the elderly person, because you're already doing that with spam calls. And did they do this? Did they do that? Did they do that? And the elderly person can either say yes or no, and that's how the minimum income's based off of what chores were completed. Maybe some people just go and visit with their grandparents. You could ask that as a question. Did they visit with you? Or, things like that. So, if you did adopt a minimum income in the United States, I think it should be geared towards that type of situation. Now to talk about Social Security. So it's saying, the news is saying that it's going to run out in 10 years because there's 10,000 baby boomers retiring every day or something like that. So here's the thing, you have CEOs of corporations making 400 times what the lowest paid worker makes within a company, right? If you take away this wage discrimination, if they're only making 20 times more like they were in the 80s, 90s, you start to solve Social Security, the Social Security problem, right? Social Security is a 6.2% tax on people's payroll, on their paychecks, and that's up to if they make $160,000 a year. After that, that income's not taxed. Anything over $160,000 a year is not taxed for Social Security wages, which means all these people making $200,000 a year, $1 million a year, they're not paying their full amount into the Social Security, right? They're not paying all that income into Social Security, is my point. So I guess the idea is, if everybody made $160,000 a year, if every person of working age in the United States made $160,000 a year, there wouldn't be an issue with Social Security. It would be viable, right? So that should be the goal. That should be the goal, to get every U.S. worker up to $160,000 a year. That should be the argument. You could do this through transparent companies, the Transparency and Importation Act. If that was reversed on the United States, people could say, I want to pay workers more than minimum wage for these U.S. products. You could raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour. If you raise every person of working age's income, they're going to pay more money into Social Security rather than only a few people having all of the income and only paying $160,000 of it into Social Security. I guess that's the point. Get everybody up to 160K. So that's one way. The other thing is that I thought of is, instead of, they're talking about starting another trust fund that is invested in the stock market. What if you had the federal bank? What if you rolled out through the Federal Reserve System or the federal banking system a transparent banking system for small businesses, rather than investing in the corporations and what they're doing and not being transparent and secretly doing things? What if you went for this small businesses, community by community? People can run the bank. They can vote through direct democracy on who gets loans after seeing their score sheet on whether we should give these people a loan or not. Right? They could vote on how much the administration of the banking system gets. So, and then they could, instead of paying into a 401k, they could choose to pay into the Social Security Trust Fund and gain interest on their money through that way. Right? So it's like a transparent banking system, and then if you, and this is again why I'm running for chairman of the Treasury, or Secretary of the Treasury. If you started to roll out a electronic currency in the United States, you could incorporate it into this trust fund, into this banking system that focuses on small and regional businesses, the loans they need to operate. You could make sure that you're not taking high risk loans and things like that. So it's just an idea that I'm tossing around to help with Social Security, but the fund, the fund would gain interest off of the loan payments and things like that, and that interest could be used to help pay for Social Security as well. So instead of focusing on the top people that make the most amount of money in this country and their corporations for the future of Social Security, let's make it about the working class bringing their wages up. Let's make it about the small businesses. Those are Republicans running small businesses. Let's make it easier for them to get a loan. Let's make it cheaper, less interest rate for them to get loans, but still profitable for the fund. And so that's a couple ideas for Social Security. Join me next time. It might be tomorrow, it might be Wednesday when I fly out, when I talk about flood vehicles and how we can make those electric vehicles, and another idea for robots and how we can ethically bring robots into society. Thanks for joining me. Happy Equinox, and join me next time.